Hey everyone, welcome to another $1,000 strap search. I've got my $1,000 in singles here and I'm about to show you what I found. But before I do, let's talk about this week's tip. I am a little bit of a movie buff. I love watching movies. I've got 700 DVDs over there. I know that was really cool 10 years ago, but now everybody streams everything. Um, but I love watching movies. One of the things on YouTube I always watch are movie reactions, watching the new generation watch movies that I grew up with and seeing how, well, if they still hold up. Anyway, when I'm watching movies, I always pay attention whenever they flash money because, first and foremost, I'm curious to see if it's real money. Second, I'm looking to see if it's accurate for the time. Um, the note that I pulled out this week is from a movie, and I'll be doing a top 10 list about that particular movie coming up in the future. But yeah, I pay attention to that when I'm watching movies because, well, I know the time frame that the movie is set in, I know the location. So, did they do their homework to determine whether or not that was real? And if so, did they use real money? I'm always stopping movies, freezing frames to take a quick peek to see if it is in fact real money. Um, let's see. Who was it? Robert De Niro, I believe, in Casino, or yeah, maybe it was in Casino. Was or was it in Goodfellas? One of the two. Maybe it was both. He insisted on using real money whenever there was a shot involving money. And they didn't want to have that much cash on hand. So De Niro brought his own, if I recall. So the money in Casino or in Goodfellas, one of those two, one of those De Niro gangster movies, is always real money being used, or at least the stuff that you see. If they used a strap like this, I'm sure it was just the top one that was real. But anyway, it's always interesting to watch movies to see if they choose to use the real thing or to use fake money. And like I said, this week's note is going to be in a top 10, and I'll let you guys think about that one for a little while. All right, let's get these out of the way and take a look at what I found this week. Found a Where's George? See where I've been. Track where I go next. Where's George notes? These are always fun to log. You always get updates on where they are. And I found another one. I see this one all the time. And this one as well. And that one's the same as the last one. And that one's the same as the other one. So I found a bunch of Where's George notes this week. This is a trinary, ones, sixes, and sevens. Here's ones, zeros, and sevens. Twos, fives, and eights. Ones, threes, and fives. And quads. Quad zeros with a fifth. Quad ones. And this one is actually five. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 sixes in a row. So that's pretty cool. Got some stars this week. 2017A, really crisp. Checking to see if the stars are filled. 2017A once again. 2017. 2017. 2013. 2013B. All right. Must be worth $1 million, right? All right. Another 2013. And here we've got an older note, 2003A. Another 2003A. Another one. Those are all pretty rough. 2003A, 2003A. That one looks much better. This one's also a little rough. 2003. 2003. 1999. Another 99. Another 99. Another 99. And isn't that interesting that I found all those 2003s, all those 2003As, all those 99s, didn't find any 2001s. See? You never know which ones are going to be the short runs. And the oldest note I found this week, this is from 1995. Not a web note. All right, so what did I pull out this week? Well, this week I picked up one of the first Federal Reserve notes printed. The first Federal Reserve notes were large size notes, and there were a lot of people that weren't happy about this. It's a Federal Reserve note, not a Federal Reserve Bank note, which means the Federal Reserve was the one saying that this was worth money. They didn't back it with silver, they didn't back it with gold. They simply said, this is going to be our money. And a lot of people didn't like that. Here we are, like I said, this was, I believe, let me see if I can spot the series on here. There we are, series of 1914. Here we are 109 years later, and all of our notes are Federal Reserve notes, and we're doing just fine. So everybody 109 years ago said, nope, that's it, we're done. Keep in mind, 109 years ago, I mean, our country's only, 250 years old. So considering this was over 100 years old, that means we've gone more than half of our country, well, not more, but we've gone almost half our country's existence with Federal Reserve notes, and we're fine. So all you people that have the sky is falling, our money is worthless, no, sorry, you're wrong. It's doing just fine. Anyway, Federal Reserve note, this is a $20 note. You can see it's got Grover Cleveland on there. Federal Reserve notes at the time, you can see, had a letter and a number designation to represent each of the federal districts. This particular one was District 8, or District H, and it features St. Louis, Missouri. It also has the 8 and the H here, and that also leads to how the serial numbers work, because since this was from the Federal Reserve of St. Louis, District 8H, and by the way, H is the 8th letter, so technically these are interchangeable. All the serial numbers start with whichever Federal Reserve district is represented. That's not only true on this note, it's true on every single one of these notes. Federal Reserve is G, there's the G, and G is the 7th letter, so it's got the 7s here. So 1914 and current, we use the exact same patterns and stuff today. Now they use these here as 8H here, 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 and here in the four corners rather than just using the number. And if we look at the back, they did basically all kinds of modern technology. Now, if we zoom in here, you can see there is an automobile and a train, but if you look in the background, there's also an airplane, which is pretty impressive for 1914. And then if you look on this side, you have a tugboat, a steamship, and in the background, it's the Statue of Liberty. So that's pretty cool for the back of this particular note. The obligation is listed on the back. It's kind of hard to read because of the font that was used, so I won't go into that. But yeah, it's a $20 bill featuring Grover Cleveland from 1914. Let's look at the big book, see what the big book has to say. There are numerous signature combinations. As you can see, on this page, it's just showing the back because it's on the page beforehand that shows the front. But yeah, you start to look at all the different actual reserves and all the different signature combinations. You've got New York, Boston, New York, Philadelphia, Cleveland, Richmond, Atlanta. We go on this side. You've got Chicago, and there is St. Louis. And this one, if I remember right, is 994. Yep, Burke and Houston. And in VG8, it starts off at $80. By the time you get to 20, it's $200. In Choice and Circulate, it's $17.50. And in Gem, it is $2,750. Mine, probably in that $125 range in that particular condition. Yeah, I think it's better than an 8, but you know, it's probably in that 10, 12, 15 range, something like that. So I'd call it 125, roughly. That's probably a safe way to go. Anyway, they did do Federal Reserve bank notes as well, which the individual Federal Reserve banks would have backed. But this is just a Federal Reserve note, meaning that the Federal Reserve was the one doing the backing on this particular note. And Grover Cleveland, he's usually, you see him on the $1,000 bill, if I remember correctly. So if you want Grover Cleveland on an affordable note, this one's only $125. So that's what I've got for you guys this week. If you learned anything new, go ahead and hit that like button. If you like what you see and you want to see more, please subscribe. I love reading your comments. Guys, thanks for watching. I'll see you next time.